What's up, guys? Welcome to the third episode of the Connect 0007 podcast. And today's topic that we're going to cover is surpassing barriers, especially when it comes to connecting with people. You're going to want to learn how to surpass some barriers. But before we really get started, I always have to share my fun fact. So, apparently, even if they've never been able to witness it themselves, blind people smile when they are happy. And apparently smiling is a basic human instinct. I found that to be pretty interesting. So next time I see someone who is blind, I'm going to try to make them smile and see what happens. So wanted to share that with you. Now, all right, let's dive into this podcast. So this is going to be, again, like I said, about surpassing barriers. And what are some of the barriers that we as human beings face with each other when we're living our lives? So some of them being ethnicity, religious and spiritual views, political stuff, money, culture, friends of friends, which is pretty interesting, status and attitudes. And yes, there's lots more that I can go over, but I figure, we're going to get these main ones out the way. So there's a few things you're going to need for surpassing these barriers. And I just narrowed it down to three big things. And what you'll need is number one is respect. Number two is open-mindedness. And lastly, number three is understanding. Now, let's just kind of go over those three things for a minute. So with respect, as you know, when you give respect, you'll get respect. And if you don't get respect, then that means you need to discontinue your association with that individual or group because you deserve better. We would all agree on that, right? Secondly is open-mindedness. Now, that can be a challenge for some of you, but you might have to challenge yourself by getting to learn more about people outside of what you're used to. And when you become open-minded, you open yourself up to different perspectives, different things, different solutions. You're not so rigid and closed off and unbearable. And just lastly is understanding. And a thing about understanding is, I'm going to give you something a little different. There's a book that I read. I believe it's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And in that book, one of the things that I got from out of there was understanding. And what he said was seek first to understand, then to be understood. So I'm just going to repeat that for you. Seek first to understand, meaning seek first to understand another before you try to be understood by another. Try to understand them first. So we're going to go through a few examples with each of these different barriers. And what I'm going to do in this podcast is just, the usual, talk about, these barriers, give some solutions, give some personal examples, and then we're going to go from there. Hopefully this helps you guys out when you're coming to face these barriers amongst people. So we're going to talk on the first one being ethnicity. And I feel like, a lot of people still kind of struggle with this. Some don't. But just in case if you're, some of the few that do, I would give just a few examples of mine with ethnicity. I remember just kind of growing up, you didn't really think about it. But as you grow up, especially in America, obviously we're especially in America. So I'm just going to speak for Americans. And Florida, where I was born, is, you learn different things about different ethnicities. Someone who, may be African, someone who may be Caucasian, Indian, Native American, all of these different things. And, you hear different stuff regarding different ethnicities. And that kind of can, mess you up a little bit and cause a bit of ignorance as you grow up. But one of the things I had to understand with that is that just pretty much everybody is, for me, I just understood that everybody is really the same, though, we all have these different backgrounds, so to speak. But that was kind of like the opener, I would say. But the real solution for me was that I had to pretty much unlearn everything that I was taught regarding different ethnicities. And I had to take an open-minded approach to learn about that particular person's ethnicity and background. And what I did was I just started to ask questions from a curious and open space. So the first thing was, again, for me, I just figured, we're all the same. That was that was the door opener. And then secondly, the biggest thing I would say, I had to unlearn everything that I was taught and everything that was around. So I really had to throw all that crap away, and I had to take the initiative to be open-minded. And that's what I said, one of the the three big things you're going to need regarding these barriers. So using it in this particular example with ethnicity, again, I had to be open-minded. And I just had to take that open-minded approach and learn from different people. So, one of the things that I had to do was we were just going to take I had some friends, who were, and I always want to make sure I get it correct, who were Muslim and whatnot. And I will say, honestly, I didn't grow up with a negative view of them, but I always grew up not really understanding why they always got a lot of, crap, when it came to them. I never really kind of understood that. So what I did, I started making more friends who were Muslim, and I just started asking them questions, not in a probing way, not in a judgmental way, but again, out of curiosity. And I would just ask questions so what's your culture like? What do you guys do? And this is to this particular person, not asking about a whole entire group of people, but just one person. And as I just, talk with them more, I really, got, how loving they are, how strong of a family unit they are. There's things that they honor and uphold. And it gave me a personal perspective that changed my view just on really those of that ethnicity, be Muslim and things like that, and all of the things with the background. So in taking that again with other different people, I just wanted to get to know them. So I had to take that initiative to learn from them instead of from what some other people told me or BS that I was around. So again, the solution when it comes to surpassing that barrier of ethnicity is take an open-minded approach to learn about that particular person, his ethnicity and background when you want to talk with them. And again, ask questions from a curious and open space. So the next barrier is religious and spiritual barrier. Oh man, I have a history with struggle with this. I grew up in a Christian household and whatnot. And as I grew up, it wasn't really for me. Let me say that it wasn't for me. And, I went through this whole period of I'm not atheist, but, I don't really know. So I had to discover for myself what felt right to me. And, that was a huge struggle. And once I did discover, for me, what my path was, one of the biggest keys I got from that, and I think it'll help a lot of people, is that there's multiple paths to one tree. And what I mean by that is that there's multiple paths to the same source, be it, as you may say, God, you may say Allah, spirit, source, whatever it may be. There's multiple paths to the same source. And it's really, from my experience, I've learned it's really communicating the same message, love and whatnot. And it's said in different ways, but that's just one of the things I've learned. But that was for me, was just understanding that there's multiple paths to one tree. And that kind of gave me a bit of inner freedom. So that was internal. Externally, the biggest thing that I had to learn, and I was struggling with that, was I had to learn to be respectful of the other party's belief while still firm in my own. And that was a bit harder than, said to do, because I was just around people and they were just pushy, like, oh my gosh, this is the way it is. If it's not, then, you're going to have X amount of consequences and things like that. And, I would defend, how I believed, and it would just kind of get, into a very heated argument, and, left a very like bad taste in, my mouth and the other person's mouth. So I had to really work on the respecting that person's party's, like that other person's belief, while them also respecting mine. Another thing that helped me is that for me, I really wanted to overcome this, and I didn't want to just like stop and just say, screw them and whatever. Another thing that helped me internally is that I was just happy that they had a spiritual source that they loved and believed in, and it just made them happy. So that also just gave me just this feeling like, hey, again, this is being respectful, but also being open to just with that solution for myself, just for me to get better, because I wanted to overcome that barrier. And it's not that person's, they're not forced to do that, but that's something that I wanted to do. And that just made me feel better internally. And when you feel better internally, you notice things around you start to change. That's a big key too. So I really just wanted to work on that. And that made me feel happy, and it made me feel happy about others. So it gave me a bit of, I want to say relief, acceptance, awareness, a bit of all of that. Like, hey, this person may be Christian, it's not my thing, but you know what? They have a source that they believe in, they're happy. I'm happy for them. Because a lot of people aren't happy nowadays. And if that's what makes them happy, God bless you. I love you. And, there's other people, who, have different religious or spiritual backgrounds that I may not follow, and also I may not even understand. So what I say is, hey, like, they have something, and it genuinely makes them happy. I'm happy for you. So that also helped me. Another thing is that I also had to be very clear with them regarding my beliefs if they asked. And my response came from a place of respect and understanding. And that took a bit of courage for me, because I just was like, oh my gosh, I believe something different. I don't want to deal with that uncomfortable, oh my gosh, you're not one of us, or oh my gosh, you don't believe this way. I was uncomfortable, and I was a bit like, being honest, I was a bit fearful of what a person may think, because I'm not, in their belief systems of stuff. I don't resonate with it. And for me, that took time. Like, a lot of this took time, and a lot of time to get over that fear and that acceptance and, of myself. Like, hey, I believe this is my reasons for it. This works for me. This is like conversations I had to have with myself. This works for me. I can't say it works for others. They have different upbringings, and different reasons as to why they believe in what they believe. So that helped me out too. Just understanding that we all have different upbringings, different experiences that lead us to believe what we believe. And I really had to be, really confident in myself and my beliefs when it came to that. And I had to really just be very clear. So when someone would say, oh, we're going to church this Sunday, so we're going to do this. And there's like, do you go to church, or can you go to our church? And for me, it was like, no, I don't particularly go to church. It's not my thing, but I do have my own connection with the source, and that is what works for me. So, it was, but then I would say, but thank you though. I hope you have a good time. But again, my response was always in a respecting and an understanding space. And because if you respect another person, this is just my experience, by me respecting that particular person's beliefs and stuff, they will respect my place with my beliefs. And that's what always just worked out for me. I didn't come off in a negative, a judgmental way at all when it came to that, because I know that can be a very sensitive thing. And I just came from a place of respect. by showing that, they gave me respect with minds. And I came to learn that, a lot of people, when you do that, a lot of people just respect it. They may respect it in their own way, but they just honestly respect it. And you don't have to worry about them constantly attacking you. As long as you're just firm and like, hey, this is my thing. I respect you. I respect yours, but, respect mine. And just be understanding. Again, what helped me with the understanding? Again, I'm just going to say this. What helped with that was that everybody has different upbringings and different experiences that lead them to believe what they believe. And that is okay. They don't have the same one as me. And so I don't expect them to, have the same beliefs as I do. So that helped me when it came to overcoming and surpassing that religious and spiritual barrier when it comes with people. And even now, I meet a lot of different people who have a lot of different backgrounds when it comes to that. And they're super cool people. They're just awesome. I mean, respect. Okay, you're here. I'm here. That's cool. And we keep it going. So next barrier is political. Now, I believe political is one of those things where they say that's one thing you don't talk about when it comes to people. Me personally, I don't pay attention to it, but I'm very aware that others do. And I just simply respect that, their views. I just respect it. I respect that their views and they have an interest in it, but I don't. So I just keep it as respect, but I also let them know, like, hey, I paid no attention to that. But again, in a respectful way. So it's like, whatever you tell me, it's known I have no interest. So, I say it in a way, again, respect, but don't try to tell me this because, again, I have no interest. You're wasting your breath and time. I don't want you to do that. But now flip the switch. If you are someone who does pay attention to it, and I have seen this in many different areas, people who are, Democratic, Republican, and others, it's some very heated debates with this. And I've seen this happen, and I've also met other people who, they are maybe Republican or they may be Democratic, and they can sit down with other people with different parties and have a conversation with them without being heated. And, one of the things that I witnessed is that it was clear, that this person is Republican, this person's Democratic. And it's just like, okay, it's known they have different views than I do. But I'm not going to tell them, hey, you guys are wrong. You should be this, or hey, the way you guys are doing this. I've seen this level of respect with these different groups of people that is just like, again, they have reasons with it being understanding. They have reasons as to why they view things this way. So don't try to pressure them. Don't try to attack them. And that's what I've seen just around me. And I'm also like that too. I see different people with that, and because oh my gosh, you don't understand, guys. I get a bit of it at least every day. Like, oh my gosh, the Republican Party, they're doing this. If they were, and I'm just like, okay, I don't care. Or the Democratic Party, they're doing this, and it's just like, okay. But then just seeing it that, hey, if the person isn't, doesn't share the same view, then why are you attacking them or pressuring them? I mean, you're just trying to have a heated argument. So that's something that can be avoided. But to surpass that, again, is you're going to have to go with the respect and understanding. Respect the person's view, understand that it's different, and, just being open-minded in the sense of, I can still share a same space with this individual, though we have these differences. And that's something that I've just seen around me just with other people, and it just goes a long way. Next barrier, I would say, is when it comes to money. And, this is very funny. A lot of people let money kind of make things weird when you're trying to connect with people. So what helped me with that? A solution with that is that, like, no matter how much a person's income, like, compared to mine, to me, it's just a funny illusion that I could allow to separate me and them, but I choose not to. And the reason is because at the end of the day, that person is human just like me. We both took the same breath when we were born, and boom, here we are now. We're still human. He has a heart. I got a heart. We got the same chromosomes, all that cool little stuff. At the end of the day, we're the same. Yeah, you may make more money or whatever in this area, but that I won't allow that to be something that makes me feel inferior or separate myself. So you guys kind of have to understand, if you want to, that it's really just it's like an illusion. You just don't let that like separate like you from that individual. That's what really helped me. And I see that a lot. I see people like, oh, they're rich, they have money, so we have to speak a certain way or things like that. Or, oh my gosh, I don't make that much. And just being around them, I don't want to, it's a lot of personal stuff. It's a lot of personal things. Like you're really being self-conscious and you're really looking at yourself. So you just really have to understand that that's really just an illusion. If you remove the money, that person is just a human being just like you. They may have experience in how to make money and you may not have more experience, but you don't look at that as a separator or nothing. Just remove the money. The person is still a human being. So when you do that, you find it much easier to just connect with someone who may make more money than you or vice versa, who make lower money than you. It's an illusion. You get past it. Let's see the next barrier. I would say culture. We're gonna go with culture. The next barrier that I've came across, I didn't really struggle with this, but I've seen others who have, and I just wanted to talk on that. Is when it comes to culture, a solution for me is that it just changed my view on others in a good way. I just decided this to change my view and use it as an opportunity to broaden my horizons, then settle into my ignorance of, someone who grew up different from me. So again, I use that as an opportunity. This person has a completely different culture than me. They do things differently. This is pretty cool. So I had a choice. Like you always have a choice. You can either sit there in ignorance and not know, or just be like, oh my gosh, they do this and not even know why. You know what I mean? Or you could choose to broaden your horizons and get to know this person and their culture. And I've met people who just had a very different culture, like how they dressed, how they presented themselves, and things like that. I know, I think one common thing is when in the business world, I know that when, like for us Americans, we shake hands, but when it comes to the Japanese, it's a different level of respect of how they do things. They bow. You present something with two hands instead of one. They don't shake hands and stuff like that. And I found that to be pretty cool. And I was like, why is that? And I learned it's their part of their culture and it's a respect thing. And it's like, oh, wow, that was pretty cool. Now, for some others, you can sit there and just say, wow, that's stupid. I don't understand. So I'm just not going to do nothing about it. Or you're going to feel some type of way. But it's just like you're going to have a choice with that. And again, I would say with this just goes back to the three things that I mentioned. You need is just respect, open-mindedness, and understanding. Respect. Oh, wow. Okay. You respect this person's culture just as you would want them to respect yours. You're open-minded to learn and have the choice of either, okay, hey, I'm going to learn about it, or settle into ignorance, or in also being understanding. So I hope that helps as far as with the culture aspect. Like you can just use that to get to know someone who may be interesting to you and you may want to talk with them. Now, another barrier to tap into is, I would say, friends of friends. I was a bit hesitant on this, but I find this is something, I don't know, it's kind of weird to me in the sense of I've seen people, they would hang out or they would know someone who knows someone, but they really wouldn't talk with them because they're friends of a friend. Like, oh, you're my best friend's friend, but I don't really know you like that. So I'm not going to talk with you. I'm just going to let you guys be friends. And it's just kind of like you cut yourself off from a really good connection. Just because they're good friends with your friend doesn't mean that you can't connect with them. They can be your friend too. They're not obligated to that one friend. So I don't know why that's a thing. I never understood that, but I just wanted to talk on that briefly. they can be your friend too. And even if that person, your friend and that friend may have either it be history or issues or this, that, and the other, that doesn't have to interfere with you and that person connecting and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, you guys are all, people. You can do what you want, and you never know, that person could help you in a different area that you need help with. So don't let the fact that that person is friends with your best friend or another friend to stop you. So I figured I'll tap into that. So the next barrier, we'll go with status. And I've experienced this a bit. I don't really talk about it just because I don't really experience it too much. But status, and what I mean by that is like a person can be the president or a king or queen, god dang it, or the mayor or whatever it is. And the solution that helped me surpass this barrier is like, they're still human. They're just like me. They're still human. And I just have respect, and I'm just not afraid to connect with them. Because if you really look at it, we're human, yes, but we're all unique. And it's just cool. Like, since we're unique, our uniqueness can benefit each other regardless of status. So this person may be the president, and you may be really good at arts or design, but the president is not good at arts and designs, but he could benefit, or she could benefit, to learn some arts and designs from you. You can change their perspective on a certain aspect of their life. They may feel, oh, I'm kind of dull in this area. I don't know certain colors mix. I don't know nothing about this. And you two can collaborate on that. If you just, remove, again, the status is like, he's unique. Yeah, he's able to be the president and do that presidential role. You're unique in whatever you can do. If you remove the status, it's like you guys can come together and just benefit off of each other, And that's something that really just helped me. I feel like that just set everything free for me. It's just like I can shatter all of these, these little illusions. That's just what it felt like to me. It was just illusions of status, money, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, we're human. And, I have a choice to either let these little illusions in my head stop me or, see it for what it is and, work on that and talk with that person, have confidence. And that just helped me. That person's unique. I'm unique in my own way. We can help each other. And so really the last barrier to talk about is attitudes. And what I mean by that is your personal view you may have on people. You may have a view that people are awesome, and you may have a view that people suck. And because of these attitudes, these are what's going to stop you, or these are what is a barrier for you to connect with other people. And that's something that you really need to look in for yourself. That's something personal for you to work on. And just to give you an example, I probably said this in a previous podcast, but back in my what I call dark days, I used to hate people. People sucked. That was how I viewed it. Like, people, they suck. They can be cruel. They can be mean, and this, that, and the other. Because a lot of people kind of hurt my feelings and stuff, and I just painted that view, in my head, and I just kind of had that. And then, I didn't care. It got me to the point where I just didn't care about people. I was just like, oh, okay, this person got hurt. Who cares? And people would just look at me like, how do you not care? Because I don't care. And that's just how I was back then. That was just my view of people. And so, I didn't want to connect with them. Like, oh, that's a human. That's a thing over there. Okay, what about them? What about it? Sorry. What about it? What about that thing over there? Oh, well, did you hear something happened to that person's, family or whatever? And I'm like, that person's not doing anything for me. They're not paying my bills. They're not why are you wasting my time with that thing over there? That's just how I was back then. And, over time, I decided to fix that. I'm not going to say I had to. I had to decide to fix my view on people. And that required some time to really reflect and look back on that. And I learned that all of that was me allowing people to hurt me, and that made me change my view on people because of what I allowed. I gave those people that power over me to make me a jerk or dark or mean and things like that. And once I fixed that, and I, did some self-work, which, self-work goes a long way, you'll find a lot of your views will change. And I found a lot of things was my fault. And I say that because when I say that it's my fault, that gives me the power to change it. And those people that were mean to me, that was my fault because I allowed them to say this thing about me, and I allowed myself to believe that these things were true. And so I had to reclaim my power. That was part of the whole self-reflection, reclaim my power and change things. And what I overall learned is that those same people that I thought was jerks and that hurt me, they gave me the biggest lessons ever. And those lessons were to just really work on myself and learn that I am not this way. And it served as experience for me. And it just helped me out big time when it came to people. So to this day, I thank those people. And to me, I think they're awesome because, overall, the bigger picture was like that helped me to become a better person. So that had to change for me, that my attitude towards people had to change. And you may not have these issues with the previous barriers, but attitude may be one. And that may be why. And if you have an issue or you may have a hard time with connecting with people, maybe look at your attitude and ask yourself, what is my attitude when regards to people? Do I feel people are untrustworthy? Do I feel people are this, that, and the other? And really look deep into that. Don't just think, oh, it's because I feel like people are untrustworthy. Why? What experience led up to that? Was it something on TV? Was it something your parents told you? Was it the personal experience? What's a better way you can look at that, So that requires, again, some personal time and self-work. And that is something that really helped me when it came to my attitude on people. Because some of us have attitudes that we need to adjust. So, lastly, you may need to develop the bravery and the courage to surpass your own personal barriers in order to just connect with others around you. And I will say it's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning, but if you keep doing it, you'll be able to connect with anyone instantly around you. So it just requires you to just take that time for that personal self-work and, do it. It's, again, you're going to have to summon some bravery, earn that, from yourself, get some of that courage to do it, because, some of us may have just personal experiences that we haven't really faced or healed from, and it just blocks us from connecting with these people around us. And even if you may not have any personal things, some of these barriers that I listed over, with these solutions, I feel like it'll definitely help you. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. You have to be the one to do it. You have to be the one to make that decision and go for it. And as you do it, you'll find that there's a lot of amazing people out in the world. You'll find that there's more people who think maybe along the lines of you, and some amazing people who are on like your wavelength and better outside of what you're used to, but you'll never meet those people if you don't connect with others who can, get you in that circle. And you'll just find that you'll be around people. You attract the people that you're like. So, you work on yourself and you become more open, more connected. Boom, you're going to meet more open and connected people. And your life can really change again by the people that you're around. But, if you want to connect, you also have the choice to not to. But if you would like to, I feel like this will definitely take you far. So to remember, the three biggest things you'll need in surpassing these barriers is respect, open-mindedness, and understanding. And with that being said, you all have a fantastic day. You all enjoy the rest of your night. If it is nighttime for you, I send you love, light, positivity, nothing but good things, this week. I hope whatever it is that you've been praying for and asking for, be it promotion or life change, I hope you get it. And again, feel free to leave comments if you want me to go over some more stuff, that'll work. But again, I'm so happy to share. And honestly, if you find that this helped you surpass some barriers, please leave some comments below so I can read them, because I would love to hear the feedback and just the cool experiences that you guys are experiencing. So, you all, I will talk to you soon.